Today we're going to compare the Rode VideoMic Go 2, which is just out of frame, you're hearing it right now, against the Comica VM10 Pro and the Movo X1 Mini. These are all affordable, small, on-camera shotgun microphones that also have USB-C connectivity. So we're going to look at the features and the specs and then do a sound quality test so you can decide if they are worth your budget or if they should fudge it. Let's switch to the overhead camera so you can see the unboxing of the two brand new mics, the Comica and the Movo. Let us unbox the Comica. Janky screwdriver. Don't judge me. No knife. It's late at night. All my stuff is put away. A little tab. Pull it open. Ooh, looks like it's a nice carrying case. The Comica comes in a nice carrying case. A lot of on-camera monitors come in something similar. Wow, this is actually really cool. So let's take a look. First, I'm gonna leave the microphone for a second. Let's see what's in here. There is a wind muff and a bunch of accessories here. There's a manual, a USB A to C, it looks like. Yep, A to C, a TRS to TRRS coily cable. Let's see, you can see those here. TRS to TRRS. And it looks like a TRS to TRS. Both of these are right angle cables. The TRRS, the one that's designed for phone or mobile devices, or devices that use a tip ring sleeve, and then the TRS, they both have the right angle, so it looks like the non-microphone side is designed to go right angle into it. So we've got three cables, manual, the wind protection, the dead cat, we've got silica gel, a shock mount here. It's all plastic with a little bit of a rubber, almost like TPU inside here. It has a 1/4-20 on the bottom and a cold shoe. And then we have the microphone itself, which is actually inside this case pretty good. So this is the microphone. It's pretty tiny. It actually is a little smaller than the Rode. We'll put them next to each other eventually so you can see. It's got a volume dial on it. I wonder if that's for the gain of the microphone, the analog gain. It has an analog digital switch, USB-C, the digital out, and then on the back it has the headphone or analog out. So when this is using the USB-C to transmit audio, it can also receive audio, and this 1/8 inch then becomes a headphone out. So that's kind of cool. I don't know that I would ever use that as a headphone output, but it's there, you know it's there. There's a little bit of a waffle pattern on the front of the grill. So let's just see what this looks like. So this is what that kit looks like. When it's all said and done, all put together. Alright, this is a cool case. It has a standard set of cables. Actually, having a TRS to TRS is very useful. USB-C to A, oh, it's USB-C to C, but it has an adapter. I've been seeing this kind of adapter where it's permanently fixed to the cable in a lot of microphones and budget products I've looked at lately, so that's par for the course to see that kind of cable. I was surprised it was just A to C. It is not. It is A to C or C to C. Cool. Let's open up the Movo and see what's inside the Movo. This also has a carrying case. There is no branding on this one. No colors. Oh, there is branding. There's a little Movo tag. Look at that. All black. Awesome. Okay, so we see that this has a zipper pocket. Let's look at what's in the zipper pocket, the accessories first. Looks like some stickers and user manual. A sticker, customer appreciation card, and a user manual. Cool. A USB C to C. This looks like it's a 3-foot cable. The same complement of cables as the Comica. This is a TRRS to TRS. And this is a TRS to TRS. The TRS to TRS is a right to right, and the TRRS to TRS is a straight to right. So the straight is the TRRS with the Movo. So there's the cables. Now let's look at the microphone. Already you see that we have a slightly different setup. It still has a shock mount. This shock mount is adjustable, so you can move the mic forward, or the shock mount or mic forward and back, depending on exactly where you need to position it. So that's kind of nice. It has a 1/4-20 on the bottom and then a cold shoe mount. These red plastic shock absorbers are just plastic. There's no rubber on the inside, so that is a snug fit. There is a little cable management, you might be able to see it, little cable management groove here. That's supposed to hold your cables along a track. Alright, the wind muff. So this looks like it's a sock versus an only fuzzy dead cat style wind muff. More silica. Here is the microphone itself. So it comes with your foam windscreen, and then on the microphone, see that on the side we have our USB output. We have our little waffle pattern on the front. The waffle pattern is not important, but it's just fun to see what microphone makers decide to put on the side of the microphone that is the address side, so whichever side sound is supposed to come into, which is interesting to see. And then on the back, we have our 1/8" output or 1/8" headphone output, depending on how you're using it. It looks like this is also the same, where the USB allows the 1/8" to be a headphone output. So let's put this one together. We'll do just the foam right away. Let's see how it can fit. Actually, I think I may need to be a little more aggressive with this shock mount because it's all plastic. Okay. That's a snug fit on that microphone. There we go. Move it back. There's a couple of lines on here. You might be able to see it with the glare. But it looks like that's where the shock mount's supposed to go or line up with. So it basically positions the shock mount at the very back of the microphone. I should hold this in the center, very back of the microphone. And then let's put on the foam windscreen. And the foam windscreen does not go all the way on when the shock mount's on. Let me try and pull this back just a little bit. Yes, so now it does. So you have to pull the shock mount back just a little bit in order to get the microphone perfect, or the windscreen perfectly on the microphone. And there is an upright direction because the text does go a specific way, or can. It doesn't have to, but if you are bothered by upside down text, it does. And then let's see what the sock, this little like dead cat sock, how does that work? Well, this will be interesting to say the least. There, a little dead cat sock. So this is the Rode VideoMic Go 2. No box this time because I've been using this for a long time, but you can see it's got a couple of markers for where the shock mount's supposed to go. On one side it's got the USB-C port, and then on the other side it's got the 1/8" port, and again this can be used as an analog mic out into your camera or a headphone output if you're using the digital mic features. On the front is not a waffle pattern, but is instead a round kind of perforated pattern. Interesting choices, that's all it is. It comes with a little silicone ring, so you can cover, oh, I should have done this the other way, but it's fine, whichever method you are not using. So I'm using this to cover the USB-C right now, and it leaves the analog output open because they are slightly offset, so that just protects it from dirt. This is the shock mount. This one is also unique where it slides back and forth. It has the ability to adjust placement depending on where your microphone is. It has a 3/8 16th 3/8 16 on the bottom and a cold shoe mount. Let's put that back where it was. This one is actually, the plastic's pretty soft, which I feel like does more for shock than stiff plastic. It has cable raceways in the middle that are smaller than the cable, so it allows you to pinch some cables in for some cable management. And then the microphone goes in actually pretty easy. And we'll slide the shock mounts back to where they're supposed to go according to the markers. And there you have it. That is the Rode VideoMic Go 2. Oh, but let's do a fair comparison. This is the aftermarket WS12. I'll put the product name on screen, but this is the aftermarket Dead Cat. It does come with a foam windscreen, but I use this all the time. Here's what it looks like. So you can get a reset. This is what the on-camera microphone of my A7 IV sounds like. And this is the Rode VideoMic Go 2, the Movo X1 Mini, and the Comica VM10 Pro. You can see that the Comica is actually really small in comparison to the other two. The Movo and the Rode are very similar, almost identical in design. So let's pop them out of their shock mounts. The shock mounts are all nothing special. They're just a little bit of plastic with a cold shoe, essentially. So we can get a little better visual of these microphones side by side. So Rode, Movo, Comica. So you can see that the Rode and the Movo are basically the same length, give or take a negligible kind of rounding error in length. The biggest difference is going to be the barrel diameter. The Movo is a little narrower overall, and then the headphone slash microphone analog out is on the side of the Rode versus the back of the Movo. Now, if we were to take a look at the Comica, since they are both very close to each other, I'm going to just use the Rode as the example. The Comica is tiny in comparison to both the Movo and the Rode. That could be an advantage. That could also be not an advantage, depending on how small or what you want it to sound like. We will get to comparing sounds in a moment. You'll see that the Comica has the gain dial on the microphone itself, as well as an analog digital switch, so it can only use one mode at a time. There must be a hardware limitation for the headphone output versus something that's software based, because the Rode has software that you can use on a laptop to adjust some extra settings. So right now, after our reset using the onboard microphone from the Sony A7 IV, our ears are fresh. You are currently listening to the Comica VM10 Pro. It is just out of frame. This microphone has the digital and analog switch. It also has a dial on it for gain, and that gain dial is only for the digital options. So we will go through and listen to our digital options of all our mics after we do our analog options on this camera. So this is the Comica VM10 Pro. Now we are listening to the Comica VM10 Pro over USB-C. You can see on the meters that I'm getting about -6 to -12 for an input signal. This is with the gain dial, that orange gain dial, all the way up. So this is the most gain you're going to get out of this microphone natively without boosting it in post. Now if I were to turn it down to about halfway, this is about halfway on the dial. I'm hitting -18 to -30, -25-ish. And then this is all the way down. So all the way down, I'm hitting about -40, -45. This is the lowest you're going to have for gain. Now you may be thinking that's not a great gain range. You get -6 all the way down to like -40, but you can't go any lower. The microphone's just on all the time and it's actually pretty hot. This actually is a non-issue for me because if you're using it via USB-C, you're probably using it for web calls, for video work, for streaming, for content creation, just like this. And that gain range is great for someone who is talking on camera, close to the microphone. I don't think that's going to be an issue for most people using USB-C on the Comica VM10 Pro. Now let's move over to the Movo. Now we are listening to the Movo X1 Mini. We're using the analog 1/8 inch output into the Sony a7 IV. The preamp level is the same. It's been the same this whole time at 14 between the Rode, the Movo, and the Comica. Down below in the comments, let me know if you hear a difference between the Comica and the Movo before we go back to the Rode VideoMic Go 2. Alright, this is the Movo X1 Mini, and you're probably like, oh, he's hitting -6 on the meters. That's a great input signal. There is no app for this microphone, so you're not able to go in like you can with the Rode and adjust the gain on the microphone itself. There's no like DSP or built-in preamp that way. You actually have to go into your system settings, go to sound, and then go to your input and choose the microphone, and there is an input volume slider, so I can turn this way down. You're going to see that signal decrease a lot, and then I can turn it back up. You don't have to add a ton of gain to it, but that input volume does help control your USB microphone volume using the Movo. Now we are listening to the Rode VideoMic Go 2. This is the mic I'm most familiar with as I've used it for years and years now. I have 2 of them. It'll be interesting to compare the sound quality between all 3 of these mics. Hopefully you left a comment down below. If you went down to the comment section, you also saw in the description that I have affiliate links for all of these microphones. There's no obligation to use those, but if you do, thank you so much. It means a lot that you would choose to do that to support this channel. I have the levels for the Rode VideoMic Go 2 up so you can see that there's signal. We are listening to the USB-C connection. As you can also see, if we open up Rode Central, that there are a bunch of settings for this microphone that is using a pad, the input level, a high-pass filter, a high-frequency boost, and a direct monitor function for the headphone output. Now, I set the level, actually what it came 50%, totally fine. So you're going to see that I actually have signal up into -6 territory when I talk. I'm not much louder than a regular speaking voice, but I am projecting a little bit because it's YouTube. Now that we've listened back to all 3 of these microphones, I'm a little surprised at the results. I didn't think that it was going to pan out this way. The Rode was the bassiest, it was almost boomy, and the mids were a little scooped, and the top end was present but not boosted or aggressive or harsh. The Comica, on the other hand, was the thinnest, and it was the least colored, maybe. It had the least proximity boom. All 3 of these microphones are super cardioid, so as you move closer to the microphone, you are going to get that proximity effect. The Movo, on the other hand, I felt like was the most balanced overall. The low end wasn't boosted or pushed too much. The mids were a little scooped, but that like 1.2 to 1.8K kind of nasally range, I thought felt really good. And my voice can tend to get a little nasally, so I listened to that very acutely when I listen back to stuff. I thought that felt really good out the gate. The natural sound of that area was great. The top end was a little boosted in comparison to the Rode, almost like it was a little more processed, like it was a little closer to being mix ready. But now the real question is, what should you put in your budget, or what should go and fudge it? So I do think that with the Movo being the most kind of ready to go out of the box, you plug it in, it sounds good right away. It's the closest to a final sound, in my opinion, that you would get out of a microphone in this price range. I think the Movo is absolutely worth your budget, and you should go get it. For an easy example, if you're making talking heads content like this, the microphone is just out of frame. You're not going to need any of the extra USB-C features that the Rode has, the low cut, the high frequency boost, the pad, all that other stuff. I think this is going to be a no-brainer. It sounds great. It's the most ready to go, so you are closer to a final product when you start. Now, the Comica, I was not happy with that sound. And that microphone, maybe it'll be good on camera if you're capturing field audio and you want a little bit more control over the sound of that mic. Or you just need to capture scratch audio and you want something a little more directional than your on-camera microphone, the Comica may be a great option for you. For me, as I'm doing testimony videos or interview videos where I want that microphone just out of frame, I don't think that sound of that microphone works for what I want to do. So I'm not going to recommend that. I'm not going to put it in your budget. I'm going to say fudge it. Now, I almost have an emotional attachment to the Rode because I've used two of them for so long. The Rode has done interview videos downtown on Broadway. It's captured field audio for me in Atlanta, in Franklin, at church. It's done testimony and interview videos at church. So many things. I've used that microphone so many times. I know that microphone very well and I know how I want to process it. But in comparison to the Movo, I would choose the Movo over the Rode because the Movo is that much closer to a finished product, which means I have to do less to it to get it there. Now, if you're using the USB-C connection and you want that granular control, the Rode is worth the extra money. The low cut and the high frequency boost are unique tools that, if I actually think about it, the low cut would bring the low end closer to the Movo, and the high frequency boost would bring the high end closer to the Movo. So you're getting closer to that finished product right away if you're using the Rode via USB-C. But if you're using just the 1/8 inch analog output into your camera, I think the Movo is a no-brainer. Highly recommend. The Rode, while it is not fudge it, I would encourage you to be more wise with your budget and get the Movo, because with that extra savings, that means you can get something like this. This is the Ulanzi ZJ08 mic boom arm. It is a cold shoe mount onto the top of your camera, and it has an 1/8 inch cable running through it. This boom arm has been on my camera for 4 months now, 5 months now, and it has not left. Every single shoot I do, if it's a testimony or an interview, it is on my camera. I'm talking like this. I'm getting the microphone close to the subject, just out of frame. It's worth spending a few extra bucks to not have to set up another stand. Highly recommend this. I will have links for all three of the microphones and this boom arm down in the description. Thank you for using those affiliate links if you choose to do so. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. Let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on the sound quality of these microphones, and I will see you in the next budget or fudge it.